So lonely. Hi, welcome one and all. Today's meeting. Our host is already here, and I can see our icebreaker is also here as well. In today's meeting, first of all, let's just shake up and get loose. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Tracy Mamo. I am the Assistant Public Relation Manager this year, alongside the actual Public Relation Manager, Baron Ochola, who's not able to be with us here today. So we'll be running the meeting. Hopefully have a really upbeat meeting. Icebreaker Witty is going to take over. Kindly just indulge her with her questions as we introduce ourselves. Hello, Gloria. Thank you very much for keeping your video on. Kelvin, I'm looking forward to hearing your responses to our icebreaker this evening. Hello, Witty. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
We are
I'm happy
fantastic.
to be here. How is
I
everyone doing?
I'll let you take over. Over to you, Witty.
All right. Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. We can do some reactions. You can react with your thumbs up, or you can clap for me for taking up this role.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, amazing. I want to believe that most of us on this call are in the role of public relations. And so far we are down to 5 months in this role. Fellow Vice President Public Relations on this call, I would like to know, how are you finding it? Any volunteers to let us know how they are finding this role? Yeah? Anyone? Oh, yes. Paula, please.
Good evening, everyone. I
Want
have
to say
found
something?
this role very exciting
Amazing.
because every other minute you need to put on your thinking shoes and mind to be able to keep the club on fire. I personally think it's the best role I could have ever done on that entire committee. And I'm always looking forward to learning new ways of doing things so that I keep the club active, both internally and externally. So I am enjoying the role. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your reaction. As she has said, also me in my role as the Vice President, Public Relations in TV, I went into this role blindfolded. What I thought I knew, it wasn't the actual sense. But because of these different meetings that we are having, they have enabled me to learn more and more. And I'm very happy for the organizers of these kinds of meetings. Do we have any other person who would like to share with us? Anyone else? I call up names. Okay, since no one is coming up to tell us about how they are finding the role, you can probably tell us about your expectations that you have for our trainer today. What you expect from them? Anyone to tell us the expectations so that when she comes in the room, she brings on the expectations. Yes? You can unmute, no problem, or you can raise a hand. No one? Sydney, are you there? Any expectations that we have for today's meeting?
Actually, if you can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. Actually, I have not been in this role. It was actually someone who was appointed to this role in our club, and they were not able to continue. So I was hoping to take over this role. So maybe in this meeting, I can understand what the responsibilities of this role are, what things I can learn from it, and how I can work to actually benefit this role as well. So this is my expectation, honestly.
Thank you. I believe our trainer for today, she's noting down and she'll be able to execute as expected. Anyone else? Do not die with a question. Hello. Yes, Joshua.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The call have
Good
all been
evening.
well. I'm not a vice president of public relations of my club, which is the Victoria University Gavo Club. However, I'm on the call because I would like to, listen in and learn from what the trainer is going to share with us, and hopefully my VPPR will be able to join the call later on. However, if they're not able to, I would still be able and willing to also go and share with her and also her team. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. We can give some reactions, thumbs up, claps, so that we get to know that people have not just logged in, they are actually here. Okay, amazing. So you're all here, but you do not want to reply to my questions. Harsh. Anyway, today we are having a very, very wonderful trainer who has had all the expectations you're having, and she's going to be able to execute to your expectations. And so she's also, anyone speaking? Is there someone saying something? Frida, are you saying something? Okay. Yes. She has come prepared for us. She has a lot of nuggets that we are going to learn. You're here, be prepared to learn from her. Our trainer today, she's none other than DTM Beverly Namozo. She is a Ugandan author, poet, and speaker. She is the founder of Babi Shai Ni Wi Bien Poetry Foundation, formerly known as the Beverly Namozo Poetry Award. She is the past PRM Director of District 114, 2018, founder of Sauti ya Toastmasters, and mother of two. Please join me as we welcome our trainer of today with a thunderous round of applause. You can unmute, you can snap your fingers so that she gets to know that we are ready for her. You're most welcome, DTM Beverly.
In the past 2 days, I have been training in poetry performance at a school called Kampala International School, Uganda. One of the rules I always tell people when you're speaking before an audience is make sure you're decently dressed. Don't adjust your blouse because the bra strap is showing. Don't pull up your trousers because your boxers or your underwear is showing. Yesterday, while I was training the students, extremely enamored and energized, raising my hands, I realized that my belly was showing. I had broken one of my strictest rules: be decent. Some of the girls were giggling, and I wondered why they're giggling. I thought teenagers. But then I felt below and I realized my belly was showing. Not the belly button, but enough stomach for me to be embarrassed. Now, what I did is I changed that into a learning moment. I shifted the narrative and I explained how when I was pregnant with my fourth child, I have 4 children, not 2. When I was pregnant with my fourth child, my belly was so big, I gained so much weight that it was hard for me to tie my buttons. And I used that as a story and then tied my button so that it appeared it was part of the seamless instruction and training. And that's what being a public relations manager is about. Part of it is managing the narrative, manage the communication. If you're caught off guard, change the narrative that it suits you, that it suits your club, that it suits the district. The only challenge is when you don't even know what suits you, you don't know what suits the district, you don't know what suits your club. The only reason you think you're there is to send out posters. That's what you believe your only role is. But your role is also to manage the narrative. And it comes from defining your style. I hope you're well, everyone. A wonderful evening. May I thank Tracy Sema, the Public Relations Manager of the district, for organizing and coordinating this event, and for Witty for taking us through our icebreaker. A warm welcome to all of you. Many Toastmasters do not want to mention my last name when they introduce me. It's Nsengiyunva. My family practiced hard until they got it correct. Nsengiyunva. I learned how to pronounce Demelash Wondimagegen. So surely Nsengiyunva is a bit easier, isn't it? Thank you so much for having me. I am going to share something and I'd like you to give me a response to this. Do you all see that? I would like you either in the chat or to unmute to tell me what color you see. Either you can type in the chat or unmute and tell me what color you see. Let's do this in 15 to 30 seconds. What color do you see?
Blue and orange.
Orange, thank you. What
Also
color do you
blue.
see? We have an orange. Please choose one color.
Okay. Orange.
Orange, great, thank you. Blue, we have blue, orange, great. What color do we see? Anyone else? Blue, orange, blue, orange. All right, blue, orange, blue, orange. 10 more seconds. So we have blue and orange. Do you know the color I see? It's green. Blue, orange, blue, orange. Somebody sees purple. Thank you. I see color green. Do you know why? Because I like to write and read and I focus on words first. The word written is green and therefore I see green. But many of you view life differently. You see green, you see orange, you see blue. No one is wrong, you're all correct. And that's what it is about public relations. Sometimes you need to bend the rules. A teacher will tell you, students, this is color orange. Challenge them and say, but green is written, but we see blue in the background. Always create your own narrative and make it work for you. And that's what I did as a public relations manager of the district and also as VPPR of Kampala Toastmasters Club, which is the first club I joined before I founded Bukoto Toastmasters Club, both in Uganda. Becoming the VPPR means being memorable. What is your voice? Who are you? Who are you? Many times we go through the guidelines and we learn the fonts and which colors to use, and that is important. We are so strict on making sure our posters are perfectly aligned to the rules that we forget who we are. We are parroting what the previous person told us and the previous one and the previous one, and that is it. And we lose our voice. Your voice matters in public relations. Use it. Become memorable. And by doing that, you can break a few rules. Do you know that from 2021, Facebook was banned in Uganda during the political elections, presidential elections in 2021, Facebook was banned. Those elections are quite violent. These ones are seemingly peaceful. We're electing in January, hoping for the best. Do you know that many of us have even forgotten Facebook was banned because we use VPN? We have managed to navigate our way. Or we use internet service providers that are not Ugandan, like Zuku. Zuku, I believe, is Kenyan. When you have that internet service provider, you're free to access Facebook. Does it mean that we are breaking the law? Is this a rule that, if broken, people should be criminalized or penalized for it? People have forgotten why. I'm sure even the government officials have forgotten why. I was in a meeting and they asked one of the directors of Uganda Communication Commission, so why has Facebook been banned? And she gave a long story. In other words, she said nothing because people have forgotten. There are some rules that can be bent in order for you to meet your end. People conduct businesses on Facebook. People share lives with their family and friends all over the world on Facebook. It's an important place for socializing. And in Uganda, while it has been banned, so many users are enjoying it immensely without any repercussions. Some may have lost their accounts, but the majority are still using it extremely well. When I was in primary school, they told us to use kiwi to shine our shoes. Now, kiwi, if you've used it, it causes a stain on the fingers. And when it goes on the floor, it causes another stain and it's a mess. I discovered the joy of Vaseline. When I discovered that if I cleaned my shoes with a cloth and shone Vaseline on them, they would equally shine, my life became better. I broke the rules. Why use kiwi that gets messy and untidy when I could use Vaseline? I never had a challenge again of having stained fingernails or messy socks because Vaseline worked much better. Sometimes you need to bend the rules in order to suit you. While you are busy following your voice and pattern and all these things with what VPPR does, you have to know what is your voice, who are you? Joshua says Vaseline works. Thank you, Josh. As VPPR, what is your club culture? We know what Toastmasters stands for: effective communication, leadership. We know the Pathways program. We know the protocols. But what is your unique voice? If you're in a family of 7, each of those siblings has a unique voice. You share DNA, you share many similarities, surname, genes, and so much, but each of you is unique. Even twins are unique. My mother comes from a family of 3 sets of twins. Each of them is unique. When I meet them, they couldn't be more separate from each other in terms of personality and ideals and goals. What is your unique footprint or thumbprint? And that's what being a VPPR is. Make your voice known. I know that sometimes breaking the rules has gray areas. For example, in 2006, I visited Lamu for a literature conference. Wonderful place in Eastern Africa. It was my first time to visit that town at the coast. Actually, it was my first coastal town to visit, East Africa coastal town. When I was there in 2006, it was the most romantic place ever. Extremely traditional, historic. There were donkeys on the road, no cars. We were walking in our kangas and sandals, enjoying the moonlight at 3 a.m., walking into restaurants and taking avocado juice at 3 a.m. under the full moon. It was beautiful and romantic, unforgettable. Because Lamu is traditionally Muslim, one of the rules was we do not sell alcohol. This is what some of my friends at the festival did. They bought soda bottles, emptied them, and put their alcohol in soda bottles. You should decide, is that a rule that had crossed the border or was that manageable? When you're breaking the rules, make sure you don't harm people. I would say they went a bit too far. Some rules are acceptable, some are not. What are the ethics behind it? In Toastmasters, one of the rules that people have is the fonts and the branding guidelines, colors. Keep that. But how about shifting it? Instead of having an audio where people speak, why don't people sing? If you sang, invited your committee to sing, inviting people for the next meeting, you'd have an attendance of 90 people, I promise you. If you invited people through a song to attend your club contest, that's what's happening now. Instead of having 15 people on the forum, all of them contestants and judges, you would have 80 people. Because of the way you called them, you developed a unique thumbprint. There is no rule against singing. Follow the guidelines, the colors, and the font. Add a unique voice and sing. And here are some facts about singing, which I discovered today. Some people think that singing preceded speech. We're focusing on speech and body language, but singing may have preceded speech. And the London Singing Institute also suggests that singing reduces endorphins. It's therapeutic, meaning that your stress levels reduce. Which is why when you're putting a baby to sleep, you sing to them. You don't deliver a speech. I have a dream. You sing to the baby. When it's somebody's birthday at the office, do you think they care if all of you have broken the notes when you're singing happy birthday? They're excited because you sang to them. They don't mind that you are off key. The gesture of singing lifts the levels up 90,000%. Next time you have a meeting, you call people through a song. They won't mind if tenor was alto and alto shifted to soprano. The fact that you made that gesture means everything. Change. Become memorable. I know in Toastmasters, there's a lot of emphasis on winning. Now it's club contest winning. Last time I was first runner-up. I'm going to win, win, win. I'm going to ask this question. How many of you remember the first runner-up in the evaluation contest for the most recent district competition? And you have 30 seconds to respond. Who was the first runner-up in the evaluation contest in the most recent district speech competition? 30 seconds to respond. Now 25. Please type in the chat. 15 seconds. Type in the chat. 10 seconds. Type in the chat. Matthew Olinga. Was it Ilishiba or Matthew Olinga? My notes tell me Matthew Olinga. Tracy has
She should
written
have been
Elishiba.
second. I think she was
Pardon?
second. I wasn't sure if she was first or second. She was about
It was
to be.
Matthew Olinga who was first runner-up. He was the president of Kampala Toastmasters Club then. Thank you so much, Tracy. What does that tell you? I know that when you were in Ethiopia, all of you screamed and cheered for these people. A few months after, no one remembers. Instead of aiming for the prize, become memorable. Become memorable. In 2021, which country hosted the District 114 conference, 2021? This one, I'm giving you 10 seconds. 2021, which country hosted? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There is no country that hosted because it was locked down. The conference was held virtually. This is the biggest annual event. We're all screaming and shouting when people appear. Between 2020 and 2022, there were no physical conferences. It was virtual. 2019, Uganda hosted. 2023, Dar es Salaam hosted. There was a gap between there where conferences were held virtually. What does this tell us? Everyone is fighting to bid to host. And yet, a few months after, no one even remembers. What can you do to become memorable? Don't aim for the prize. They'll forget your name. Aim to become memorable. I remember when I was supporting Division A, the division director at the time was John Nzira, fantastic person. I was supporting Division A and Division F. I was supporting the program quality, training, and acting as an advisor to Division A. I was also reviving the Sauti ya Toastmasters newsletter. I knew almost every single person in the district. Nothing happened without passing by me. The newsletter used to run regularly, quarterly. There was a time when I was working on it on my own. I would collect articles, edit, do the photos, the layout. Someone from Intinda thought I would send it to the US so that they could edit it and bring it back because I learned so many skills at that time. Sauti ya Toastmasters made me memorable. When I was district PR manager, before we actually became a district, and Rosie Rana, our first distinguished Toastmaster, was our leader, she encouraged me so much. I told the team then, I said, let's do something. We don't have a space where we gather all information. We just keep hearing snippets from here, a WhatsApp here. We had a group, but there was just so much chaos. Area 8 has done this. This has done this. We have charted a new club, but where was the central place for information? Our website was also being revived. And I said, I'm going to start a newsletter. I have never made so many mistakes in my life as when I started the newsletter. I started with my own branding guidelines, my own colors, but Rosie took me through the steps. By the time the first issue was out, it was an issue that was built on a foundation of mistakes that had been corrected. It was an issue that was built on a foundation of taking a risk. And it was received so well. Every issue, we had to line people up because everyone wanted to contribute and tell us about their socials, tell us about the cake, tell us who celebrated a birthday, which president did what. And Rosie Rana, the district manager at the time, had her space. She would send me articles of 1,500 words. And I had to reduce them, would go back and forth, back and forth. That was the foundation of something that was groundbreaking. Over the years, different PR managers have taken over. In 2022, I offered to revive it again. I worked with a team, after which Anthony Kimani took over and he started making it a virtual space with links. And he also introduced a Kiswahili version. You see, he made his own imprint. He continued the Sauti and added Kiswahili. What are you doing? For your club, what is your voice? Introduce a club meeting with singing or your next club contest. You will see the difference. It will be outstanding. It will be outstanding. Even for you, singing has so many remedies. And when you sing, people judge you less than when you speak. When you speak, they'll say, Tracy had 3 pause fillers. Abinette was repeating herself. She used the word of the day too many times. When you sing, there will be no judging. They will just be clapping and they will remember you forever and ever and ever. Be memorable. I used to work on a morning show, Power FM in Kampala. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. The driver would pick me up about 5:30. On arrival, there were times when I had not brushed my teeth, had not taken my morning coffee. What I would do is while I was perky, full of sunshine, greet everyone and say, wake up Kampala and all over Uganda. I think the station reached parts of Mombasa as well. I would wait for a long advert and then cue a song after it, rush to the bathroom, brush my teeth, start putting on my makeup, walk back into the station like nothing happened. The listeners were none the wiser. It's only the newsreader and the reception who were there at the time who knew. I'll tell them if anything happens, play this other song. But I knew 10 minutes, so adverts and a song, 10 minutes, I'd rush to the bathroom because sometimes the driver would come and while I've dressed, I've taken a shower and I've dressed, I haven't put my makeup on or brushed my teeth. And I'm not a fan of makeup. Lip gloss is usually enough because I take a lot of water and I exercise. But nobody knew. Sometimes you have to bend the rules in your favor. Did the station suffer? No. I was always on time for my segments. I was always on time with my guests, well prepared. What harm is there in going to brush your teeth during a song? If you weren't ready on that particular day, find a way to bend the rules. Find out what works and what you can get away with without harming anyone. My second question would be, do you want to be great or to be liked? Because if you want to be great, then you really have to set your own pace. The Sauti ya Toastmasters newsletter did so much for me. I learned a lot about leadership, but also about my capacity because everything had to be on time. I learned how to edit, how to speak to people. When I revived it in 2022, nothing went by the district without passing through me. I remember when the district conference was held in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, everyone thought I was present because everything that happened, I created a poster and sent it. People said, "Oh, Beverly, we're going to miss you. It was so great to have you." I said, I wasn't there. I was actually home in Kampala. I'm like, what? Because my voice was so present, people thought I was there. The moment anyone won, I would say, send me your poster, I'm sharing it. You won the evaluation contest, send me a poster, I send it. The new committee, send me their posters, photos, I create the poster and send it. Had a template for everything. People thought I was present because ideally I was. I was more present than many of those who had actually traveled to Dar es Salaam. Make your presence felt so hard that it's unmistakably you. These are two incidences I remember in Toastmasters. None of these people won an award. One of the ladies was Nakato Olga. Nakato is the name of a twin. When I joined Toastmasters in 2016, I was part of Kampala Toastmasters Club. And the meetings were extremely thorough and efficient. One of the general evaluators, instead of saying the usual, we started on time, the room was arranged well, this is what she did. Because when we're at Kampala Toastmasters, what would happen? You'd have two books. During the meeting, you'd have two books. The sergeant at arms would go around with a book and say, the black book is for guests. Please put your 5,000 shillings in there. The red book is for members. Are you a member or a guest? Okay, so you sign in the red book. During the meetings, remember they were extremely efficient and thorough. It was a bit distracting because you're listening to a speech and somebody nods you. Please sign your name. Are you a guest? Put 5,000 shillings in the book. This is what Nakato Olga said. A recommendation she brought. She said, I have realized that every time we hold a meeting, there's a bit of distraction. The registration books are passing around during the meetings. Why don't we have a registration desk where the sergeant at arms is stationed and we actually have books for registration? That was groundbreaking. What may seem simple and obvious to you was actually groundbreaking. It was introduced by Nakato Olga in 2016. We did not have a registration desk until, as a general evaluator, she made that recommendation. It may seem obvious, of course you need a registration desk, but it wasn't obvious. The moment she introduced it, the meetings became seamless. I remember her. She's the only general evaluator's recommendation I remember. And I've been in Toastmasters for a number of years. Everyone else says, let's start on time. The program should be printed on time. Please, 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 let us switch off our phones and let us do this. Nakato brought a recommendation which was obvious and yet wasn't, and which was groundbreaking. Everything changed for Toastmasters because of her. Another person I remember in Toastmasters is Alan Aringo. Many of you may not know him. When I participated in the Toastmasters competition in 2016, we traveled to Nairobi. I saw Alan Aringo, either he was contest chair or MC. His delivery made an impact that has never left my memory, because I have never met anyone so engaged and enigmatic and in touch with the audience. I've never met anyone who is so full of high self-esteem and full of high vibration that is able to connect with every molecule of the event. Dressed so well, speaking and transitioning almost perfectly. Alan is not active in Toastmasters anymore. I began following him. He's a multilingual translator. He speaks about 7 languages, French, Portuguese, Italian, always traveling around the world. He's not active, but the time he participated in Toastmasters in 2020, I was a host that time. I emceed one of the long sessions virtually. I remember in 2020, he won the humorous contest. He spoke about his 7 cats that keep him company in his home. That was a memorable speech, and no wonder he won. 7 cats. Keeping 1 cat is difficult. 2, they'll say you have an addiction. 7 cats. I cannot forget a gentleman who keeps 7 cats. He won the Toastmasters contest. Of all the contest chairs and MCs I have engaged with, Alan Aringo is by far the most outstanding for me. And I hope you each have the pleasure of meeting him one day if you haven't. Another person who stands out is Gilbert. Gilbert was program quality director a few years ago. When I joined, Joshua has 2 cats. When I was in Kampala Toastmasters Club, Gilbert was the vice president of education. And he had a system which worked. He used to track everything that went on. There was green, yellow, and red. What he did is set up a Google group for us. Every so often, he would use the tracking system to remind us where we are. Every member was there. Green meant you were active, meaning at least every month you participated in a role and gave a speech and you had paid your dues. That was green. Yellow meant you were slacking a bit, you could pick up. Red meant you were not doing anything and you really needed to tune in and become better. Now, if somebody was in green, but their mentee was in red, that was also something that had to be questioned. Because why would Beverly be active? She's a grammarian one week, the next week she's delivering a speech, the other week she is serving as Toastmaster, and her mentee has not paid their dues. Her mentee is behind, has not delivered any role in 3 months, and Beverly's in green. You'd have to check that. And it did not care whether you were the president, what role you were in. It was non-discriminatory. Everyone had their tracking system. Who has paid, who paid late, when they paid, who was, and you couldn't give a speech 4 meetings in a row. You give a speech 1 meeting, evaluate the next, take on another role the next, and then speak. Because Kampala Toastmasters believed that people needed time to grow, to listen before they delivered their next speech, and not rush. Because then there was no urge to win. I feel like these days everyone wants to win, 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 win. There was no urge to win. The urge was mainly to develop yourself and to develop your mentees. We were not there to win, to race to the end, but everyone these days wants to race. Who decided that racing is the path for Toastmasters? That never used to happen those days. I would like to share something else. And if you have questions, please do ask them. When you look at that, what rules do you think I have broken? Do you see that clearly? If you all see that, do you see any rule that I may have broken there? Do you see any rule I may have broken? Clothing color. Reading under the sun. Reading under the sun, clothing color. No, it's okay to. Well, I wasn't reading for long. That was mainly to pose for the photo. No one else notices anything, but thank you for mentioning that. It's actually not advisable to read under the sun. That was for the purpose of the photo. Looking down. Not looking down. The rule I've broken is my hair. And if you notice, my hair is actually short, but I have braids at the back. I call this style the Bev. I had it before a few years ago, and I revived it last month. What they tell you about braids is that you braid all over the hair, style it into a puff, and make it neat. I said, if I decide to create that Bev, will I harm anyone? Will anyone suffer? Will I have broken any ethical agreement or arrangement? Absolutely not. And this is what I have. It works for me because I like the way I look in short hair. And I also like to add a personal style, because adding your voice to something is what being a public relations official is about. Add your voice, become memorable. Don't do what everyone is doing. You must be able to break the rules, be memorable, create change, build a system. The rules are there. You're following the branding guidelines. You have 7 months to go. What are you going to do consistently that will make you stand out? The Sauti ya Toastmasters newsletter worked for me 7 years after I left. People ask me for advice continually, ask me for old issues. How did you do it? What happened? It worked. That was a voice that I set. It worked. What are you going to do to stand out? Change the narrative. Change the narrative, okay? Break a few rules. Yes, you can. Do you want to be great, or do you want to be liked? If you want to be liked, follow the rules, say yes, yes, attend all meetings. You don't have to attend all meetings. Some meetings are wasting your time. It's like people who are addicted to self-help. Some of these things are imprisoning you. They're not making you think for yourself. You're so addicted to self-help that you cannot use common sense to tell you that smiling and greeting people is actually a way of socializing well. You have to go and buy 3 self-help books. Read chapter 3 to find out, yes, smiling is good. You knew this before. You're so addicted to self-help that you become impossibly helpless. You become so helpless that it's a drug and you don't know how to, you need to detoxify. This is how you detoxify. Just cut them out of your system. Spend 1 month without looking for a motivational speaker on YouTube, without reading a self-help book, and set your goals. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. And you realize that really self-help means helping yourself, which you can. I know people who are so addicted, they're now overdosed. They're now overdosed. It's too much. They become so helpless. They're paying for so many things. It's an addiction that you need to break. Become great, or do you want to become liked? Being great does not mean being insufferable. It just means making a mark, all right? You may aim for the prize, and yet people will forget you. Aim to become memorable. Everyone knows tic-tac-toe or noughts and crosses. When I first played this game as a child, I knew it as noughts and crosses. It's gone now. Let me show it again. This game was called noughts and crosses. Do you see it? Ideally, you're supposed to fill in your digits inside the box. No one has ever told us that we cannot do it outside the box. There you go. If you decide to bend the rules a bit while maintaining ethics and integrity, like the poster says, Who knows where it will lead? I'll take 1 or 2 questions and then hand back to Tracy. The hair's on point though, thank you. Thank you, Paula. I'll take 1 or 2 questions if there are any. Thank you, Martin. All right, a private inbox. You can share actually on the main inbox, a private inbox. In 7 months, what would you recommend I do for the club? In 7 months, what I would recommend first is go back to who you are. Don't look on the outside, look on the inside out. Who are you? What matters to you? I'm a poet and a writer, and so my instinct to create a newsletter was just an extension of who I am, all right? And being creative is an extension of who I am. I do that when I'm parenting, I do that when I'm training. I train a lot of people, especially in international spaces. I would say in 7 months, find your voice, and every month dedicate time to make your voice felt. For example, if in your meetings, your posters have the logo 100 years of Toastmasters and all of that is wonderful, you then put a quiz in your narrative and say, here is the monthly quiz for SEMA Toastmasters. We're starting something new. SEMA Toastmasters has a monthly quiz, and anyone who is able to win the quiz will get a design poster. You'll give them something, all right? Our quiz for December is, and the winner is, everyone will want to be part of that. And it's so simple. You have not used money. You have not used any time. What you have done is engaged, because people want to be engaged. When Sauti Toastmasters came out, everyone wanted their articles and photos to be part of it. Everyone wanted their article and photo to be there because it was part of greatness. So that's what you can do. Engage and say, we have a quiz, SEMA Toastmasters monthly quiz. January quiz, 2026 means this, da-da-da-da. And then that's it. You've made a mark. You've made a mark. 2 years ago, I was supporting the club growth director, and I introduced something called Ha Ha Ha. Every Friday, I designed posters and I wrote 100 words of incidents that happened to Toastmasters that were quite ridiculous. I started with myself. When I started Toastmasters, we were in Protea Hotel, and as a new member, you wouldn't know which room they've allocated you to because the venue was free. Sometimes it would be the conference room downstairs, upstairs. And I remember entering a venue, people were eating and drinking, and as a new member, I wasn't sure who the participants were in Toastmasters. I joined the room, I started eating and drinking with them until I realized this is not a Toastmasters meeting. I excused myself and went away. That was the ha 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 every Friday. And that was my experience. People from all over. I made sure that every country was represented. Ethiopia, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya were all represented. Everyone sent me their ha 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 moments until I said no more. I had to put a stop to it because it was engaging, did not cost me any time at all. 100 words only. No time, but it was engaging. So do something like that. That's what I'd recommend. What is your voice? What comes easy for you? Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated. Make it simple, but it's your voice. And then it's the voice of the club culture. And then it also adds to. So it starts from you, goes to the club, the region, the district, and so on. Thank you for that. See if there's any more. Yes, Kelvin.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to pronounce the second name. Okay. But yes, thank you very much. I want to highlight 2 very key things that you've mentioned about memorability. I've noticed you derive your maybe creative ideas from your normal routine, or it could be something you ingest from daily normal operations. And I think that is something I can learn from myself because I tend to pick a lot of things from what I'm doing. Like the first instance you gave us about you being on stage and something happening, and you're able to weave that very creatively into something that you're able to do, and currently you said about the haha. So I think that is something we can borrow and learn. And my question is that recently, or okay, this week we had an annual review for our club, and from the VVPR side, I was able to notice that have been able to adopt and implement a specific style that I have, right? So you said be different, be unique. And of course, it all intertwines with being memorable and also being unique. So me having my own style, it keeps me worried in that Toastmasters is a brand. It has its tone. And for VPPRs, we normally have this position once every year. Like once the year lapses, I hand it over to somebody else. So what is the repercussion, or what are the consequences of every VPPR doing or being their own star in this particular game? Like what is the impact to the club in regards to maintaining the brand consistency, tone, and language? Thank you, and back to you, Beverly.
Thank you. Let's go back to the brand. What is the Toastmasters brand, if I were to ask? What is the Toastmasters brand so that we know that, we're affecting the brand? Let's say, what are some of the values? Some of the values are transparency, integrity, we value leadership. Has any of that been affected by you communicating with your own style? Has the integrity of Toastmasters been affected because you have developed your own style? Have you withdrawn from following the guidelines in terms of the font and the colors by communicating your own style? You ask those questions. It's difficult to break a branding. You know, Toastmasters is such a huge brand. To actually destroy that brand, it takes magnificent effort. It does. Developing your own unique style is almost like having a contest, international speech contest, and everyone has a unique speech, and the judges are at a loss. They're like, oh my goodness, what speech do we choose? I have been a judge at a contest where someone started by laying on the ground. Another one came with ice cream. Have they disturbed the brand of public speaking because we're told public speaking, wear a suit and what? No, they haven't. They've developed their unique style while maintaining all the ethos of public speaking. It takes a lot of effort to break a brand, especially one as magnificent as Toastmasters. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Because we're so used to rules and regulations, we think, oh my goodness, if I step into this, no, don't worry. I have met so many creative situations. If you look at Toastmasters videos, what helps me is when I train, because I train in public speaking, I refer to a lot of Toastmasters winners. There's a winner who came pretending to smoke a cigarette. There's a winner of 2016 who came wearing underwear on top of his trousers. He was demonstrating about the inner bully. Now, some may say, oh my goodness, that was too much. But no, he won. He won in this Toastmasters international contest, a huge brand. Now, if that did not destroy the branding guidelines, I doubt if anything you're doing, Kelvin, is going to destroy the branding. Don't worry about that. I can see your heart is in the right place. It takes a lot of effort to destroy the brand, a lot of effort. So you don't have to worry about that. If you do have questions, go back to original Toastmasters videos and see how creative people have been. You will step out of your box and just be wild and free. They've done so many creative things while still maintaining their brand. Even the Toastmasters magazines, the stories you read, my goodness. Roadmasters, for example, Roadmasters was something that was established to build clubs around East Africa. Joshua Tahinduka and others, they went around East Africa establishing clubs to build us from territorial council to a district. That was highly creative. Did it destroy the brand? No. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. If you're in doubt, you will be guided. I'm sure the district team PR manager, Tracy, will say, all right, while I love your creativity, let's put a halt here, but it takes a lot of effort to destroy a brand. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
right. Thank you so much.
There was one question in the chat.
Oh, there is? Let me. ITM has also raised a hand.
Yes, she's the one
ITM?
with the question.
All right. Yes, please ask your question. Have they typed it or she's going to speak?
Perhaps she fell off. Let me just get her question.
All right. All right.
Her name is Yedidea.
Yes.
She asked, how can we be consistent and have a plan for our club's activities?
How can we be consistent and?
How can we be consistent and have a plan for our club activities?
All right. ITM, we couldn't hear you, but Tracy has shared your message. How can we be consistent and have a plan? I think that the challenge with being a Toastmasters member, you're doing too many things. That's why you get exhausted. And that's why you feel at the end of it, I am done. This row, oh my goodness, it's exhausting because you're doing too many things. If you have a plan, you have 7 months to go. A lot can be done then. How you do a lot is by doing less. Stop acting like the treasurer of your club, like the SAA when you're VPPR. That is a problem. You want to be everything and be available for everyone apart from your own role. If you take on the VPPR role so well, you think the SAA will say, VPPR is always on time, let her help me register. They won't, because you've already established that you're extremely busy and you have a lot going. They will not ask you. The reason why we feel we don't have time is because we've made people believe we are available for everything. Now go back and set a plan. Set a plan which is VPPR related. Do something like this. For the next 7 months, we're going to produce 2 newsletters. In the next 7 months, we're going to have a VPPR poster contest. I almost developed a poster contest for the district. A poster contest, meaning that for my club or for my area, the area that comes up with the best poster depicting 100 years of Toastmasters or something will get a prize. You work on it so well that you'll have 10 great ideas. Even if you accomplish 3, you have done something that's invested towards VPPR. That is the plan. Now, when you do that, do you think your SAA is going to keep telling you, please, can you take the banner for me? Please, can you do this for me? They won't. My dear, you have a plan. For you, every meeting, there's a slot for the VPPR to speak because your plan is rich. Not even the VPE can speak for you. It's either you or somebody else in your team. Think big. The thing with being a VPPR, sometimes you think you are less than the president. You are less than the VPM. No, no. You're not. You are so important that the face and the voice of the club and the district and the what depends on you. And I tell that to SAAs as well. I said the meeting should not start if you're not there. You're a very important person. Stop speaking like you don't care about your role. You're an extremely important person. The meeting should not start if the SAA has not opened the key to the door. It shouldn't. Just like you. Nothing in terms of public relations should be acknowledged without passing by you. Become so visible and establish something that you have an office even. People need to make appointments to see you. People should not send you WhatsApp messages at 9 p.m. You're too busy to respond to that. It's an office. We work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If it's not a club meeting, why are you responding to messages after 7 p.m.? The VPPR is your office. Stop those things. It's your office, okay? I see. What are these? Posters. Thank you, Tracy, for sending these posters. So do something. There's so many ideas. I often go back to reading the online magazines, and I go back to YouTube and I watch the past winners, because these people just blow my mind with their creativity. You can think up so much. Do you know that you can even decide we're going to have a non-verbal communication competition? Send a 30-second video, non-verbal communication. Let us guess what you're trying to say. The winner will get this. Engage people. 30 seconds, you're not taking anyone's time. You're not spending money. It doesn't take time, and it's extremely engaging. People remember you. You have 7 months. Every month, do something. When you're planning like that, and you tell people, I'm too busy, I'm not able to become your evaluator, you're telling the truth. What are you busy doing? The VPPR. Stop being everybody's somebody, and then you forget about being a VPPR. You want to be a Toastmaster every day. Why? Because they said a Toastmaster wears many hats, and we have to serve. Serve yourself, VPPR. Stop being everybody's everything. You're enabling people. By the way, some people go to you and ask you to take on roles because they know you're always available. And then you become exhausted. And then the year ends. What have you done? Oh, I'm glad we're done. I can't wait. Oh, my goodness. And you know when people get exhausted, it's this season. December, January, there's always a slump. People become exhausted. They don't care about anything. Change it. Let us wake up. It's your place. You're the energy and the life. Bring life. December and Jan, there's always a slump like this. Meeting attendance goes down. It's the time when there's renewal of membership. There's a time when there's a club officer training second round, and no one cares. Then there's area contests and all these things, and people are so fed up. Then the new district conference ideas start happening, the committee, people are exhausted. You become the life and change that. I'll say. Thank you.
At Chandara's round of applause, please let us unmute. Let her hear it. Let us hear the sound of her bringing out the life in us this meeting. Come on, VPPRs, representative VPPRs, woo! Join me. Let her hear it.
Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you so much. Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Thank you, thank you. Share all your reactions.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I know when I first was told I was going to be in charge of these things, I knew I have to somehow fit in Beverly. And thank you all of you for showing up. Traditionally, this thing is run on Mondays. Thank you for making the exception. And thank you, Beverly, so much for making the time. Let's try and pronounce this. Nsengiyunva.
Nsengiyunva. By the way, Tracy, this is the first Toastmasters event I have accepted to speak at this year, because I was giving myself a break. I keep telling myself that, but then I'm always active. This year I said no. People called, I removed myself from everyone and every space. It's the way you reached out to me. I said, yes, I'll do it. Your communication was different. I said, fine, I'll do it. I just want to mention.
My voice was heard, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you all for your indulgence. Let me just slip in a couple more announcements from the district. We did have our quarterly awards just last weekend. Congratulations to all of us that won. I was going to share, but however, we are short on time. I have shared the VPPR WhatsApp group. Feel free to join. We do have meaningful conversations there. We share our posters, we get feedback back and forth. I believe some of you may be there. I have shared a couple of posters just to encourage you and show you the different kinds of voices that are going on around in the district. You are welcome to bring in your own voice, and I do know it was one of my challenges as VPPR to express myself. Some of us may have more to battle with before our posters come out. The battle honestly is worth it. Just stick in there, and I hope you have gotten a bandwidth of wisdom from today that will encourage you all through the remaining 6-7 months coming up. It is true that from here on, the zeal for Toastmasters does dip, and it is up to us to keep talking about it. One of the things we are encouraged to push through is TCON. TCON is happening. We are encouraged to promote the posters. You can find them in our social medias, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. By show of hands, and if you can just kindly indulge me in the chat, just put an I if your club has a LinkedIn account. Just indulge me the next 2 minutes, the next 30 seconds. Just put an I in the chat if your Toastmasters club has a LinkedIn account. Okay. Right, and so, all right, they're still streaming in. All right, okay, for those who do not, okay, what do I want to say? Put an L if you have an Instagram account as well. The letter L, kindly. All right. It's not, it's also, okay, we are 22 in the meeting. It is a little concerning that there's less than that number. Maybe what I can say is, all right, it is encouraged that your club does have these socials. It does help us interact and also open your eyes to the ideas that are happening within the district. And perhaps if you'd like guidelines, you may want to reach out, especially if you're in the VPPR WhatsApp group. Just reach out to me, or you can reach out to. I'll put in the PRM, the PR district email account. And my number. So you just reach out, and either preferably on WhatsApp before 7 p.m. please. I am very strict with my time. You can ask me your questions. Maybe you can go through how to set yours up. Then you can get this party going, so that maybe you're not left behind. For any further questions and details about, especially the recording of this meeting, it will be shared on YouTube. Please feel free to revisit it and share it where you have questions. And I'm hoping that the same numbers will show up over and over again throughout our upcoming meetings. Thank you very much once again for showing up and indulging us with your time. If the floor is open for the next 2 more minutes for any other questions before we adjourn, before I switch off the lights and send you home.